Welcome everyone to the City Council Chambers, City of Marshalltown, 10 West State Street. Today's date is Tuesday, May 28, 2019, and the time is 5:30. Call this meeting to order. I first give notice to the public that the mayor and council welcome comment from public discussion of any of the agenda items. You're required to step to the microphone, state your name and address for the record, and limit your time to your remarks to 3 minutes so others may speak. All speakers shall speak clearly and direct their comments to the mayor and council and not to any councilors specifically. It's at the discretion of the mayor and council to respond to specific questions and comments or to have staff respond during the meeting. I invite those who are able to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Roll call, please.
Hoop.
Here.
Isom.
Here.
Martin.
Here.
Weirin.
Here.
Cahill.
Here.
We have Gowdy and Lamer absent.
Thank you. Do we have a let's see. Actually, first we go with mayor, council, and administrator comments. Does anyone up here have any comments to make? Okay. Do we have the years of service planned?
I don't believe he's here.
We'll bump that to the next meeting. Let's then move on to item F, consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve it?
I move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Thank you. Roll call.
Isom.
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Very good. Carried. And Madam Secretary, if you would, for the record and TV watchers, please read those items.
Approved council minutes of May 13 and the bill list of $6,650,401.84. Appoint Laura Eilers to the Plan Zoning Commission, replacing Sharon Greer. Reappoint John Boston and Angela Linzeig. Resolution accepting bid and authorizing the purchase of one 2010 Ford F-150 truck from Jensen Ford for $22,500 for use as a detective vehicle and declaring certain properties surplus and authorizing sale and disposal to Jensen Ford a 2005 Dodge Ram truck for $3,500. Resolution approving addendum to Resolution 2019-12, accepting bid and authorizing award and approval of contract for the chipping of tornado-related tree debris in the amount of $59,980. Resolution transferring funds for fiscal year 2018 through 2019 and approving April financials. Tentative resolution accepting subordination agreement for the property interest at 7 East Lincoln Street, lead abatement project. Resolution consenting to assignment of trustee agent agreements, escrow agent agreements, and/or paying agent and registrar and transfer agent agreement. Approve the alcohol license renewals, Midnight Ballroom, Impala Ballroom, Central Iowa Fair, El Portal, Get and Go Convenience Stores number 34 and number 35.
Thank you. On to item G, motions. The first one is approval of a new liquor license for the Marshalltown Arts Festival event on July 20.
So move, Your Honor. Second.
Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Martin.
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Hoop.
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. Thank you, Amber Danielson, for being here and for all the work you put in for this celebration. It just was so sad last year when the tornado stopped it, so I hope everybody shows up to support it this year. Next. Oh, yeah, and you're still up? Sorry. Okay.
We have Amber Danielson.
I thought you got to go home early.
I'll be quick.
Okay.
Amber Danielson, 803 West Main. Good evening. Thanks for letting me take up a few minutes of the meeting tonight. I'm the director of the Marshall County Arts and Culture Alliance, And Jessica sits on our board, and I told her a few weeks ago that I feel like we are doing all this work with the city that it makes sense for me to maybe give you guys a report here every couple weeks, or excuse me, not every couple weeks, a couple times a year. You guys are going to get sick of me. A couple times a year. So, our mission is to support and promote arts and culture in the community, and we're really passionate about making Marshalltown the place to live, work, and play. The Arts and Culture Alliance has been around for almost 15 years, but we've drastically changed and grown in the last few years, so I wanted to share with you just a few highlights of some of the new programs and projects that we're working on. So I wanted to start first with the Marshalltown Public Art Committee, which I know you guys are familiar with, and we refer to them as MPAC. And a reminder that MPAC is a program of the Alliance and was created to provide art in publicly accessible places and to be a resource for the city. Our two active projects right now are the Iowa River Trail Placemaking Master Plan and the addition of public art at the Police and Fire Building. So quickly on the Iowa River Trail Master Plan, last month, if you recall, you moved forward to hire RDG as the firm to develop the Trail Master Plan as a result of the successful grant application to the National Endowment for the Arts, which I feel like needs to be reminded that we were one of 60 across the nation to receive that grant, so that's a really big deal for Marshalltown. It's very, very competitive. The city was the lead applicant, and the Alliance served as the partnering arts organization. And we were granted, thankfully, an extension through that grant to January because our time clock ticked quicker than we thought, given the tornado threw a wrench in there. So we are quickly getting started, and RDG is actively working on the first phase, which is primarily around community engagement. So they're working on that plan, and hopefully we'll have more updates to you soon on that. Update on the Police and Fire Building. An RFQ, request for qualifications, was released Monday, May 6th by the Alliance. The selection committee is made up of a representation from the Police and Fire Department, City Council member Bill Martin, a neighboring Lynn Creek District Organization representation from YMCA, YWCA, and a few members from MPAC. And prior to releasing the RFQ, the committee finalized the goal for the project, which will be the primary source for the artists to create their work. And the commissioning for that artwork is to exemplify service, honor, and unity, represent respect and community pride, create an impact, and complement the distinct qualities of the Lynn Creek District. The artist is able to propose a specific exterior location, and we have offered space available in the interior lobby. However, the selection committee is favoring an exterior piece. So the tentative timeline for that, our call to artists was just released a few weeks ago. Submissions are due on June 14th, so that's just a high-level qualifications, basically just a bio on that artist and why they should be selected. And then the committee is going to select up to 3 finalists, and those 3 finalists would then move into the next round where they would actually create a proposal for what that artwork would look like with renderings and things like that. And they have until September 1st when those are due, and then our committee gets an entire month to put together all kinds of different ways to engage in the community and showcase those finalists and get a lot of feedback. Certainly we plan to come to you. I've already got Sherry to get me on the agenda sometime in September, so you'll all get to see what those look like. And then hopefully we hope to have something installed by summer of next year. The other program I wanted to quickly touch base on was Art in Public Places. This is a pilot program that we released in partnership with the Marshalltown Airport a few weeks ago. A little less than 2 years ago, during our strategic planning session, the board had an idea of a program where we would be able to feature local artists and rotate their work in some of the local businesses, but we weren't quite ready to act on it. And just a few short weeks later, co-owner of the Marshalltown Airport, Steve Albrecht, called and had this brilliant idea to showcase local artists in the lobby of the terminal, and we thought that's just too much of a coincidence to pass this up. So we actively started planning that, and as of just a few weeks ago, we were able to get 16 pieces of Missy Share installed in the airport as a partnership with the airport. And Missy at the time was on our board, and so it was a really great opportunity for her to kind of serve as our guinea pig to work out all the kinks and hopefully do this first round and test all the things out. So we were hoping that, the goal of this program would be to partner with local businesses, showcase our local artists, and providing a channel for them to sell their work and enhance our local businesses. Assuming everything goes to plan, it would be a biannual exhibition, so we would select several different businesses, hopefully around the community, and then have different artists a couple times throughout the year. And then this weekend in Marshalltown, if you follow us on social media, you'll see that we've just recently started over the last few months highlighting in partnership with the CVB their event calendar, some of the events that they have going on their calendar. So a common thing that we hear is that there's nothing going on in Marshalltown, or there are things going on and they hear about it too late. So a group of us, including Vision Marshalltown, the CVB, and the Alliance, looked at that and saw it as an opportunity to hopefully provide a centralized location where everyone can know what's going on in the community. So the Alliance started doing a weekly post on social media, and just a few weeks ago we took that to email. So we're actively seeking people signing up and getting that in their email in case they miss that on social media. We've gotten a lot of great feedback, so hopefully we can not hear that comment as often or at all anymore. And lastly, the Marshalltown Art Festival, which I'll be back up here to talk to you about again, but as you know, we were canceled last year due to changing locations. We were in the heart of the tornado downtown. But the 2019 Art Festival is planned as normal. Thanks to our donors and sponsors, it's free to all to attend. It's showcasing over 50 professional artists, 2 live entertainment stages with performing artists all day, a live chalk artist, a live graffiti artist, local students, free youth activities, Iowa craft beer, wine, food trucks, you name it, it's going to be there. And it's shaping up to be one of our best events yet. The event is expected to draw over 4,000 attendees, is ran and supported by over 200 volunteers. And with statistics from the National Endowment for the Arts, we're able to calculate over $200,000 economic impact in just one day to Marshalltown. So it's a really important event for our community.
The most important question is the date, though.
Saturday, July 20th.
Thanks.
Thank you. So again, thank you for letting me speak tonight, and thanks for your continued support. A vibrant arts and culture environment is critical to economic development, is key to enhancing quality of life, and nurtures a positive view of the community for residents and visitors. And we believe a community enriched in arts and culture will attract, retain, and engage residents and make Marshalltown the place to live, work, and play. Any questions?
Questions or comments? Good report. It sounds like it's going to be a great event.
Yeah, it's going to be a fun day. I'll be back up here shortly.
Okay. All right, now we go to item I, resolutions, and the first one.
Resolution allowing open containers on public ways for the Marshalltown Art Festival on July 20.
Motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Very good. Any other discussion?
I just wouldn't be on record as saying, I don't think they should be able to walk around with the beer containers. It should be in the fenced-in area.
Very good. Any other comments? Public comment. Roll call.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
No.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Motion carried 4-1.
Thank you. And would you read item 2, resolution?
Resolution approving an agreement for professional services with McClure Engineering for the amount of $422,918.
Good afternoon, Justin Nickel, Public Works Director. As the city clerk just read, this is a resolution for engineering services with McClure Engineers for the design of East Merle Hibbs Road, stretching from the eastern terminus right now adjacent to Walmart to Governor Road. We do have an exhibit in the packet that probably most of you have seen, but we'll put it up for the public's sake to carry Merle Hibbs through the existing agricultural fields to make a tie-in with Plaza Heights Road from the existing bulb of the cul-de-sac to the northwest of the Iowa River Hospice, and the possibility for a future connection to the development south of Southridge. I should note that the engineering costs will be picked up using road use tax funds. This project was approved in our CIP that was voted in by the council earlier this year. I will easily confess, we being the city administrator and I, execute 2 agreements that are collaboration with this overall agreement, both for Terracon construction, for soil borings in the area, and then with McClure for surveying services The reason we did that was in the essence of time, knowing that those agricultural fields would be planted with row crops coming up. So both agreements were of a dollar amount that could be signed by our city administrator by our purchasing policy. I know we have Kurt Polly in the crowd. We also have an engineer from McClure Engineering. Are there any questions I can answer, or I can certainly turn over to them to answer anything?
There's one thing I would like to point out, which isn't obvious on this map because it's an older overhead, but if you drive out to Plaza Heights Road right now, you will notice that this parcel of land is under development, and there will be 30 duplex units that are there. And that really was what sort of initiated this project, that the only way in and out of this neighborhood, which as you can see is heavily multifamily residential, was Plaza Heights Road. And so we had nothing to require the developer to be able to put in any roadway or extension because it was going to be a significant stretch to get down to Merle Hibbs. But the developer did work with us in setting aside some land on their property for us to be able to make this extension of, they're calling it Plaza Heights Road. I think we were initially calling it South Fifth Avenue, whatever it's called. So this is something that is a transportation necessity to really serve what is becoming a heavily residential area on the south side of the city.
Any questions?
Question here. I presume that this plan would be in phases. Is that correct?
Excellent question, Councilor Martin. Yes. The anticipated result would be that the first section would stretch from the eastern terminus by Walmart to the first intersection with Plaza Heights Road. Yes, the overall construction cost would be in the range of about $3 million, maybe more than that, depending on how long down the road we go to. But yes, we would build this in phases.
The $3 million number being the entire project, not
Correct.
just that phase?
Yes.
Okay.
Thanks for that clarification.
Other questions or comments? Public comment.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So in the memo, I think it indicates that this project is to be paid with TIF money. And I don't think it's on the TIF amendment until a couple items down. So you're going to pass it before you pass the TIF amendment? Just a question of procedure. Thank you.
Thank you.
To be clear, the engineering part, which is all that's being discussed right now for your approval, is not being paid with tax increment financing. And so we can talk more about what public improvement projects are listed as potential projects in the urban renewal plan amendment at that item.
Thanks.
So Kurt Polly, 1706 West Olive. I just want to, tell you how much I support this project as a, real estate professional in our community. I work with developers and talk to developers all the time about where we should go, what should we do. We are running out of lots and running out of places to build homes. We're currently building. We probably have 7 to 10 lots of infill lots left in our community that we could build on. If we don't do something to get this ball rolling, to open up new development, we're going to be out and we potentially could lose interest. This could be a catalyst project to open up that land. We have a willing seller, plus with the police and fire, I think it only makes sense to move forward. So I support this project, and I think our community would too. Thank you.
Thank you. I know it is an area that Conlon Development was interested in had they gotten the grant too.
Yeah, and so that is what's represented here as the planned development, but since they did not get the low-income housing tax credits, they have removed that as a project.
Right.
Jacob Raleigh, 718 South Center Street. Just in response to what Kurt said there, I would say that the number of available lots would be pretty incorrect, as we did just have a lot of demoed houses, and there's a lot of lots sitting empty. Plus, you do have about 30 dilapidated properties throughout the city here that could be torn down and used as empty lots. Just from the overview map, and I haven't honestly done a whole lot of looking into this one, but just from the overview map of that, I guess I'm not really looking at a whole lot more efficiency versus coming down through the mall parking lot or coming out around there. I would just say that we probably need to look at the land that is being unused in other areas. it's great to have development on that side of town, but we do have a lot of undeveloped lots that aren't looking very great right now. And so maybe look at that as well. If we're going to spend $3 million here, maybe we need to tear down some of these dilapidated properties that are around town that I can imagine the city's going to own very soon if the taxes aren't paid on them. So, thank you.
Thank you. Other comment? If not, let's call the roll.
Need a motion in a second.
Oh, we need a motion in a second. You're right. Sorry. Cart before the horse.
I move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Very good. Now let's call the roll.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin.
Yes.
Very good. Thank you. And then is this where we can have, we can combine different resolutions, or we're stuck on number 3? Okay. Madam Secretary, please read the next resolution for us.
Resolution approving a fee change at the compost facility.
Again, Justin Nickel, Public Works Director. After we changed our fee schedule earlier this spring at the compost facility, sales of city bags quickly dwindled. And the staff at the compost facility brought to my attention that if we did not sell these bags, we would likely end up with pallets of rotted paper bags in our storage facility. So in order to try and sell the remaining supply of the bags we do have, I would propose that we do sell bags at 5 for $1. And I was asked earlier, I should clarify that when we sell them 5 for $1, we will still charge $1 when they are brought through the gates full of grass clippings or branches or leaves. But we made an error in judgment, and we would propose that we do lower the price so that we can remove our inventory of bags. And I'll be happy to answer any questions.
The guys out there say they get needled a little bit by guys like me that have already bought the bags and we're bringing them back, and now we're getting charged again. But like I tell them, the city needs money. Is there a motion to approve this resolution?
So move, Your Honor.
Any second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? Or public comment? Roll call.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Very good. That carried. And on to the next resolution, please.
We have a resolution setting a date for public hearing on the amendment number 7 to urban renewal plan for area number 3.
Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Discussion.
Just a quick little introduction. This was actually something we were attempting to do a year ago, and there were some errors with the legal description, so we had to start all over. And in the meantime, what happened was that we had a tornado, and that greatly delayed the ability to get things through. But it also gave us some time to look at adding some land and identifying public projects, as well as some development authority. And so I'm trying to bring up the map here, which shows what we're attempting to do. So what we were trying to do last year, I'll rotate this if I can, was to add the area that was on the west side of city limits, basically with the lots of fronting Iowa Avenue from western city limits to the current edge of the urban renewal area. In the meantime, we also talked to Stalzer Family Farms, who does own this area that is in the yellow on the very east side of the urban renewal area, and they were agreeable to signing an ag land consent form, which allows us to then be able to add that property in. And so that was really what we were looking to do initially when we started this here, and then had some other opportunities to take advantage of. A year ago, we had also not identified any public projects, but we knew that was something that we needed to do to continue to provide support for the Marshall Economic Development Entity, as well as be able to quickly react in a development situation. And so there's a few things as you go through here that I do want to draw your attention to, and I'll start at first, kind of just because I'm going backwards, that we've done this in 2 of our other areas, being the downtown area and the East Side industrial area, where we've identified what things would you generally consider for a rebate program, so that we would not have to go back and amend this plan specifically in order to do that. And so we've identified some very specific things. Mostly rebate agreements cannot exceed 10 years. And basically, if there would be one that you wanted to exceed 10 years with, we'd have to amend the plan to do that. And same with keeping it in the boundaries of $10,000 to $1 million, and also putting on sort of a total limit of what this project can look like. So this generally sets some authority before we then get into some public improvement projects. Wayfinding, we did have the wayfinding master plan done, where there are some recommendations for that area, including signage and a monument. Looking at, the different things that we could be doing. Construction of an extension of South Fifth Avenue to Merle Hibbs as a potential public project, as well as then West Burrell Road. I'm not sure. Burrell. Many of you might not know that is actually mostly not a public street. Once you basically get past the Applebee's entrance, it is a private street at that point. And as we've talked with the owners of the Southgate Mall there, we've talked about how this could potentially be an impediment to development, and that we really should be having a conversation at some point about making that a public street in order to potentially allow for more things to develop out there. We've also put in some things related to East LaFrance Lane. That was something that we were, thinking about a little bit more as we were going through the low-income housing tax credit application process, but it's still something that, as you look at how that area could develop, that it still could be a necessary project. And then the construction of an extension of East Merle Hibbs Boulevard as well, where we've put in a big number on that, not knowing what could be there. And ultimately, you can see our timeframes are pretty generous on these. This does not bind you to use tax increment financing in any sort of way on any of these projects. It just provides it, by having it listed in this plan, then gives it to you as a financing option for these improvements. And I should say there's a few more. Iowa Avenue stormwater improvements. Iowa Avenue has no curb and gutter. It's just got the gravel shoulders. If we're really going to start looking at that as more of a city street, that there's probably some improvements to be made. And same with looking at, accessibility along that as well, with the sidewalk or trail development as well. And then finally looking at economic development grants for blighted properties, for demolition or redevelopment of blighted properties, which could include the city using funds to purchase and demolish blighted properties as well. So that's kind of the summary of the public improvements. There's also two very specific things which I'll run through, where we specify 2 development agreements, specifically one to fund economic development services through the Marshalltown Area Chamber of Commerce or another related entity, or however you'd want to do that. As I had mentioned, this is where our funding for MED has come from for many years. And then this was in there back in our attempt at amending this plan a year ago. I will admit that I have not had any conversations with Todd Cassidy here recently, but this is something that I thought, just to be on the safe side, let's keep it in and keep this moving forward. So everything that's in there just basically means that you then have the authority to use tax increment financing on it if possible. It does not mean that we forego public hearing requirements or anything else that would be required for a development agreement or any use of funds, or same with the whole process of how you go about certifying TIF debt annually in November of each year to be certified to the county. But this basically sets the public hearing and sets the process, with the public hearing to occur on June 24th.
Any questions or discussion? Public comment? Roll call, please.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. And now on to item 5, the police and fire building change orders.
Your Honor, we have, 7, 8, 9? We have 9 resolutions relating to change orders for the police and fire. Would the council like to consider them individually or as one motion?
I know the mayor prefers one motion, but what does the council think?
I'd prefer a single because there's 2 or 3 of them in here that might need further discussion.
Okay. Is there a motion to approve the first one? Well, I guess we read it first.
Yep. Let's see. Resolution approving contract change order for the police and fire headquarter project membrane roofing and wall panels for Black Hawk Roof Company, an increase of $369.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'll second.
Discussion?
Good evening, Justin Nickel, Public Works Director. The request will challenge my ability to go through individually. Our first request is for $369 for membrane roofing and wall panels. Looks like the $369 is essentially part of the package that is back charges to Corrado Construction. So the overlying theme of the majority of the dollar amount to these change orders is fees or expenditures that other trades have undertaken because of the former Mason Corrado Construction. About $80,000 Corrado back charges, and then change request 94 is for about $267,000 for scheduled delay claims, which is another way of wording for back charges to Corrado. The city finance director will give you an update later on in this meeting. While this is a rather large dollar amount compared to our normal change orders, we do still have $662,000 worth of buffer yet before we would run up against any budget issues. Is there anything else I can answer about the $369?
Any questions for Justin? Public comment? It is fun seeing the brick going up now.
It took a while, but our mason replacement is doing an excellent job and working at an excellent pace. Hopefully Mother Nature will allow them to continue at that pace.
Let's call the roll.
Isom?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes. Yes.
On to the second resolution, please.
For change order for the concrete foundations for Caliber Concrete, an increase of $6,990.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Discussion?
On the document that I've put up overhead, this is also for Corrado back charges. Again, we can go into the detail on anything that you want, but in all reality, most of these charges are for either work that a neighboring trade provided for Corrado Construction, equipment that they allowed Corrado to use, or materials that they let Corrado use as well. This one's also for back charges.
Questions? Council comment? Public comment?
Go ahead and just stand with me for a second. I would just ask that you'll elaborate a little bit on what caused all that. I would say that if a neighboring construction company caused more cost, then they should probably be taking care of that themselves and not the city paying that bill. But if you can maybe elaborate on that just a little bit.
So yes, to elaborate, the city is no longer under contract with Corrado Construction, so we will seek to get reimbursed for these back charges, but at the moment we have no means to keep the money that we owe to Corrado, and we are walking a delicate balance in trying to keep the new mason working forward so that we actually do receive a completed project in a couple of months, as opposed to having all project progress stopped. So this risk that these other trades have taken on, for some of them for up to a year, the business model that the city entered into, where the city is the prime contractor and then individually contracted with the 15, 18, 19 trades, I'm not sure I know the number off the top of my head, this is not the issue of these other trades. The city will have to shoulder the risk for this, for these charges and for these delay claims until we can seek reimbursement or some other means from the surety company or from Corrado Construction, if that's what we so determine.
And one thing, just to remind you, when we did approve that agreement with Merchants Bonding Company, it did say liquidated damages were to be determined. And so this is just getting into basically what those liquidated damages are. And ultimately, we're still working with our attorney on these different things to make sure that the bonding company knows about them and seek reimbursement of them. So it's part of that contract of the takeover agreement with the bonding company as well.
Other questions or comments? Roll call, please.
Isom?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Thank you. That one carried as well. Would you read the next resolution?
Resolution approving contract change order for Central Western Fabricators, an increase of $32,277.
I move for approval.
Second, Your Honor.
This 32,277 also falls into Corrado back charges, maybe in an effort to get some further explanation. I'll scroll on down beyond these. So this next sheet has a breakdown of what the 32,277 represents. This is for Central Western, if I'm not mistaken. This would be for equipment and hours delay, both on June 20th of 2018 and August 1st of 2018. So as I mentioned earlier, some of these contractors have been shouldering this cost for more than a year, or approaching a year, and I have been contacted personally by several of these contractors saying that if the city isn't willing to settle up on some of these charges, that they may not be able to progress with the work that is remaining to be done.
Questions for Justin? Public comment. Roll call.
Isom?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Very good. That one carried as well. Would you read the next resolution, please?
Contract change order for construct site demolition and earthwork, increase of $8,205.25.
Is there a motion?
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Discussion?
This would also be for Corrado back charges. Moving down to the details, construct is applying back charges for moving block and brick once Corrado Construction was no longer on site and was not planning to return. We did need to move some of the materials, the block and brick, around the site. Therefore, Construct did some of this work. Also for cleanup of the site after Corrado Construction was gone, both brick and block, and then a general cleanup of the site.
Thank you. Questions or comment? Let's vote.
Isom?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Thank you. That carried as well. Would you read the next resolution, please?
Contract change order for electrical communications and security for DeVries Electric, increase of $181,940.09.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
Second.
Discussion.
So for the first time, this includes again additional Corrado back charges, but it also does include this time the Evidence Tech card reader access. So something that was probably missed in the design was the security to the evidence technician's office and storage area. As such, as we moved along in construction, the police department requested that we add a card reader to secure access to the evidence technician area. And then this also includes scheduled delay claims from the electrician. And where that may differ from the back charges to Corrado is the electrician was really waiting on site for Corrado to finish some of their work to be able to add electrical boxes for outlet plugs, for lights, for security cameras, for things such as that. So those would be some prime examples of things that now the electrician is is now requesting that we pay for scheduled delay. It was not, their contract did not reference the Corrado construction, and so the city attorney or the mayor, I'm sure, could help elaborate on this. It really is through no fault of theirs that they experienced these delay claims.
And again, we will be pursuing those against the Corrado company and against its bonding company.
That's correct.
Yep.
Just out of curiosity on the delay claim, so we have a specific timeline built into our contracts with the subcontractors, and then this would incorporate essentially no work. This is just for a delay on their timeline.
That would be my understanding of it, and I certainly could let Story Construction jump in here, but yes, our original contracts anticipated completion in December of last year, or then even into January of this year, and now we're reaching the 6 months past that. Some of these trades end up leaving employees, equipment, materials on sites where they could be utilizing those resources at other construction sites, and that would be the basis for this claim, I would say.
Other comments or questions? Or public comment? Let's vote on this one.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Very good. Let's go to the next resolution then.
resolution for change order for the police and fire headquarters, aluminum storefronts, curtain walls for Foreman Ford, an increase of $2,830.
I move for approval.
Second, Your Honor.
Questions or discussion?
This change order would also fall under the Corrado back charges. A further explanation would be a reorder of some materials in the police department that were delayed due to our delays with the mason.
Questions or comments? Public comment? Let's vote.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Very good. Number 7.
resolution for the change order for general supplies for Garland Construction, an increase of $114,382.99.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
Tie goes to Cahill on the second. And discussion.
Garland Construction serves as our general services contractor. They are not the general contractor, to make sure that I changed I exemplify the difference before that. The bulk of this contract is made up by Corrado back charges, assisting the electrician in the evidence tech card reader access, some scheduled delay claims, window blocking, which I would have to ask Story to help me explain what that means, in our holding cells, burnishing the concrete raised beds, and the changes to the 911 monument in the front of the facility, and upgrade to the granite top of that new monument. Thank you.
Questions? Comment? Public? Vote.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Very good. That one carried as well. I think we're down to number 8.
resolution for change order for gypsum wall assemblies for Hillsabeck Schacht, increase of $2,438.
Move for approval, Your Honor.
Second.
This change order is constituted of Corrado back charges and also work for the evidence tech card reader access.
Questions or comment? Roll call.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Very good. Carried as well. Next resolution, please.
for the change order for plumbing and mechanical for Tony's Plumbing and Heating, increase of $11,608.96.
Is there a
Move for
motion?
approval.
Second.
And our final change order is also due to Corrado back charges.
Any questions of Justin?
I think that my comment would be, I don't think any of us enjoys voting for these, but we do realize the situation that as it occurred, and I appreciate your work and the attorney's work to try and make it so that we can move on, get the building built, and seek restitution at a different time.
Thank you, Counselor.
Well put.
So curious question, to I guess add on to that. So as we front these charges now rather than our subcontractors, at what point, if we come to resolution for the back charges against the bonding company or whomever else, would that come to fruition?
My anticipation is we would wait until completion of our building, which hopefully will be in the next 30, 60, 90 days. As I mentioned earlier, we're walking a delicate balance with the surety company and supplying the new mason. I would prefer that we actually get a completed project, but as those who deal with contracts would know, your leverage is in holding the money that they do for that work. So we will work with our attorney from Lynch Dallas with Story Construction to make sure that we pay the surety company and the new mason accordingly, while still maintaining the ability to control these back charges with either the keeping of a retainage, or whether as we progress next month and the month beyond in negotiating that we do not pay the full amount for the work they've done. Beyond that step, Councilor Isom, then we would probably have to look at possibly some litigation action, whether that's against the surety company, whether that's against Corrado. Maybe just to state out loud for the public, going to litigation is going to end up costing the city money in lawyers' fees, in court costs. So recouping 100% of our funds may seem unlikely, but the city, I'm confident, will put ourselves in the best position to recoup the fees that we're able to. It is a delicate negotiation in my experience.
Other questions or comments?
Comment here. I regret the position that we're in, but I understand it completely, and I hope the public does. This has been a long process with bumps and valleys along the way. I commend Justin and the mayor and the city administrator for, I think, giving a complete and full explanation of what got us here and what the process and the road is ahead going forth. So I appreciate that work. It's extra work, but we want to be precise. We want to get the job done right, and so we're moving forward.
Thank you. Other comments? If not, then the public is invited to the mic. Nobody's standing up. Let's vote.
Isom?
Oh, sorry. I spoke too soon.
No, sorry. Jacob Raleigh, 718 South Center. You know, I was doing a tally as we went there, so we're sitting at $358,218 in Corrado back charges, not just changes. That's just the Corrado back charges. Some of the ones that I saw along the way, especially one that I want to note, is the moving of block by construct. I know there's a lot of block out there, but in no way, I'm a contractor myself. I own equipment. I own skid loaders, excavators, and all. In no way does it cost $60, $200 or in the range to move some brick. I just want to make sure we're not giving these contractors an open checkbook and saying, because I'll be honest, back charges are a lot of times that way. Back charges can be, yep, well, this is what our time was worth, but they don't actually prove how much time they spent on those things. It doesn't take $6,000 worth of time to move some brick from one area to another, especially not on a property that size. So, I mean, when you look at those things, you might be allowing, as you can see, every contractor along the way has a back charge. Well, they wouldn't have had that back charge until they saw that the last guy got it. The next guy got his back charge, and the next guy got it, and they're all submitting these bills. They're seeing it as an open checkbook, and I just want you to keep that in mind.
Thank you. Other public comment? Let's go ahead and vote then.
Isom?
Yes.
Martin?
Yes.
Weirin?
Yes.
Cahill?
Yes.
Hoop?
Yes.
Thank you. That carried as well. On to the next item, please.
Your Honor, we have a public hearing and a resolution following the public hearing for a budget amendment for the fiscal year that we're currently in, ending June 30, 2019.
Using my cheat sheet here, I will declare the public hearing is open at 6:20 p.m. Did the clerk receive any written comments?
I have not, Your Honor.
Are there any public comments? Next then is staff review.
Good evening, Diana Steiner, Finance Director. At the May 13th meeting, I went over the report with you. This is needed because our expected expenditures exceed our budget amendment, primarily due to the tornado. So we have additional revenue coming in from the insurance companies to rebuild our buildings and replace our vehicles. And then we are not expecting to receive much from FEMA this fiscal year. Most of that will come in next fiscal year. Any questions? Thank you.
No, thank you. All right. Time for council comments, if any. And if none, I declare the public hearing is now closed at 6:22 p.m. And let's move on to the next item J on ordinances.
Resolution.
Oh, sorry. Needed a resolution to adopt it. Yes. I'll entertain that resolution.
I move for approval, Your Honor.
Thank you.
I'll second the motion.
Very good. Any other discussion or questions up here? Any public comment? Roll call, please.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Very good. Now let's go on to the ordinances. J, and the first one, would you read that, please, Madam Clerk?
Yes, we have the third reading of an ordinance that would prohibit parking on East Main Street between 8th Avenue and 9th Avenue.
Is there a motion to approve that?
I'll move to approve that.
Second, Your Honor.
Very good. Any other discussion? Public comment? Roll call.
Martin,
Yes.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom.
Yes.
Carried as well. And the second and last ordinance, would you read that, please?
We have a resolution, or this is a second reading of the ordinance relating to the recodification and compiling certain existing general ordinances of the city dealing with subjects embraced in such code as of ordinances and declaring an emergency with a public hearing set for June 10th.
Thank you. Is there a motion to approve it?
So moved.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions up here? Any comment out there? Roll call.
Weirin,
Yes.
Cahill,
Yes.
Hoop,
Yes.
Isom,
Yes.
Martin.
Yes.
Very good. That carried as well. So now we're going to item K, discussion items, and the one listed is about the police and fire building cost update.
Diana Steiner, Finance Director. We continue to earn interest on our bond funds. Since the beginning of the project, we've received about $316,000 in interest. The first column of numbers is our payments that we have already made, and then the next column is what is still outstanding, what is contractually expended, encumbered. Excuse me. So the change orders that you passed tonight total $361,000. That leaves us an uncommitted amount of $662,000. Any questions?
Question here, Diana. Is the landscaping included here someplace? I thought it's encumbered. Am I correct on that? Okay, maybe I answered my own question.
Okay.
Yeah. Probably just for the people at home to hear the answer to that question. Yes, it is included in the summary.
Contract concrete sidewalks.
That would include sidewalks, and maybe that's the total, but if not, construct is the bid package that falls underneath. So yes, I know that I can tell you for surety that it is encumbered on this total.
Very good. Any other comments or discussion? Up here or out there? Okay.
Do we have any, I know it's difficult to know, but is there anything in the future that looks like we'll have more change orders due to the Corrado experience? And, I mean, when it was still a couple of million away, it felt a whole lot better than it does now at 660,000 to the budget line.
Yes, I believe there would still be some charges due to Corrado as we're still completing the building, and there's still the work that the surety company Mason is doing that could eventually delay some of the other, or could possibly delay some of the other trades. I'm not sure I can put a dollar amount on that for you right now. I'm going to look at Ethan and presume that hopefully it will be smaller than the existing change orders and what we still have left. I believe this is the bulk of what we should see for Corrado delays and Corrado back charges.
And if the city's experience is similar to the school district's experience with a major construction project and litigation following that, we can expect to have some money coming back in as part of the litigation too.
I would caution, and I'm sure the mayor knows this, the time frame to which we could receive the reimbursement for those funds. Certainly could be years down the road before we actually come to a litigation conclusion.
So I guess to add on to that question, as we look at the encumbered and estimates remaining on there, is there any of those items that have a higher risk than others as far as high change orders, as far as the remaining payments left?
I don't believe that there's anything that's a high risk for change orders, Councilor Isom. As those of you who have toured, the interior of the building is really near completion. The surety hired Mason is doing a nice job of the cleanup and the work for the block inside the building. As we've stated already, they have laid a fair amount of brick around the outside of the building. There isn't anything at this time that I anticipate is a higher risk for change order. That's said with 90% confidence, something to that level.
Other questions or comments? I got to go to the building for that Citizens Police Academy graduation, which had a large class, and they had a good time. And boy, that building really is starting to take nice shape inside.
Justin, I know that you, in your previous comments, said in the next 30, 60, 90 days. I like that stretch there. Is there any, what would be your best guess as to when we will have an open facility?
Sure, you're stealing my thunder. I was hoping to put out a press release tomorrow, and I still will, but that's okay. In discussions with Story Construction today, I'm going to use the date of August 31st. I'm still hopeful that Mother Nature will help us to beat that deadline. As I've stated a couple of times now, our makeup mason is doing an excellent job, but contractually, in what the efforts that they took over on Corrado's behalf, we're anticipating that it's probably early to mid-August before the mason is complete, and then there would be a need for 2, 3, 4 weeks for the other trades to complete their punch list items or the little things such as cameras or electrical outlets or things like that that have yet to be done. I'm hopeful that August 31st is the date, and whether that's the exact date, I am pretty positive that it certainly would be something around August 31st. And then we'll work with the two departments to see when their move date would be.
Thank you. Mm-hmm. I do have one more question. It's kind of related, kind of not. Is our hiring of our contractors, is that governed by Iowa code? Is that Because is there, I mean, we are experiencing what happened, it is what it is, but is there a way that we can prevent that in the future? Is there any leeway in the hiring processes that would help our situation, or in a future build, or in how we do our business in accepting contracts?
Can I take this one?
Sure.
The thing to know is you all did everything right when you approved the agreement with Corrado Construction. They were the lowest responsive bidder. And so if you would have rejected their bid, you would have been facing litigation at the start of a project rather than potential litigation at the end of a project. And so you did everything right. Ultimately, along the way, Story Construction had excellent documentation to make the case when it came time to make the case with the bonding company. And so when you start involving more more entities into a process, that's when things slow down, and that's what happened. But you did everything that you were supposed to do and legally required to do, and until there's some change to Chapter 26 of the Code of Iowa, nope, you have to take the lowest responsive bidder.
I'd like to add one thing. I've said it in the public plenty of times, but I want to make sure I say it in front of this council. I can't commend Mike Welter and Ethan enough for the strategy that they employed in our means of dealing with Corrado Construction. Jessica pointed out, had we not accepted their bid, we would have probably been dead in the water and in litigation to begin the project. Ethan, Mike, and the team from Story Construction saw the need to keep Corrado Construction working along on the block, even if it might have been a less than desirable product, to keep our project moving forward. Otherwise, we could be talking about a year plus until we would be occupying this building. I've said it in the public, I've said it in front of Ethan, but I want to say it again in front of the council. My commendment to Ethan and Mike in seeing how this process was going to play out and how we could continue to make sure that our building was open to these two departments in the most time-efficient manner that we could in this situation.
I haven't
Thank you.
intersected much with Mike, but I sure have enjoyed Ethan's work there and willingness to help us.
It was an excellent piece of strategy, in my opinion. It may not seem like it to the public, but be more than happy to sit down and discuss it with anybody that's interested in construction.
Your Honor, looking ahead to an open house after completion, ribbon cutting, and so on, do we have plans for that? I would just like to input that the open house lasts more than 1 day or 2 days, but perhaps 3 days, because the public is anxious to see it, view it. The only time that they'll be able to get into it legally is when they're apprehended and then they're after the opening. So I encourage all to take advantage of whatever good open house opportunity we provide.
I would imagine you could have a guided tour with a police officer, which didn't mean you'd been apprehended by the department.
Both chiefs will love showing off their new house.
Both have done an excellent job in the times that I've toured with them.
Yeah. Great. Any other discussion? Okay. Let's go to item L, public comment. I have to read this again, too. Members of the public may make comments on any item that was not on the agenda during this time. The speaker shall approach the mic, state his or her name and address. Comments are limited to 3 minutes unless a longer comment is authorized by yours truly. The speaker shall direct comments to the mayor and the council as a whole. The mayor and councilors shall not engage in discussion or debate on items raised by the members of the public. No action may be taken on those items in order to comply with the open meetings law. The mic is open.
Mark Eaton, 1007 South 10th Avenue. So a few months back, I approached the comment podium and asked about city council meetings, videos that were deleted from the YouTube channel. They deleted 2 years. Haven't heard. I did get a letter from Jessica that said she was looking into it, but I think we should have some more concern about this. This is actually good documentation of the city council meetings, far more than the minutes that are in the paper. And I think the council should address this and take some concern about it And at the very least, there should be some public policy created that prevents this from happening. All of that documentation should be on backup. Everything else is on backup. The finances are on backup. Why aren't the council meetings on backup? And if they're on backup, why haven't they been restored yet? And I know there's some move to move them to the city website, and I appreciate that because YouTube's not the greatest place to store stuff. But I think the council should consider looking into this and creating some public policy around it. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Can I ask a question? And it may not be appropriate, so you can rule me out of order if it is. What is the official recording documents or of the council meetings? Are they the minutes? Is that what we would go back to if someone needed to check something?
I can send an email, or
What?
Roger can send an email tomorrow and clarify this for all of you. It's not an item that we can comment about because it was not on the agenda.
Okay. Well, seeing
Thank
no one else standing to approach the microphone, the time is now 6:36, and we are adjourned.